Well, hello and welcome to Lifestyle Solutions, Dr. Greg and Monica, this time on health conditions.
Health conditions. What's our condition today? What do we have to
Well,
talk about?
we recently did a video on glycemic index, on carbohydrates, and on sugar. And so I think it's very important to go ahead from the health and condition side of it. Let's talk about the effects of consuming excess or unnecessary sugars.
Let's say just one thing, glycemic index again. If you want to see that video, we cover that in detail. But what it amounts to is how fast certain foods convert from a long, complex sugar. It takes your body a while to digest to instant firecracker sugar, like sugar, cooked carrots, baked potatoes, and a few other things, beans, steel cutouts. They give a more sustained time release sugar, which Monica coined that phrase.
But then
That's
why,
what we're talking about.
Right, but why is that important when it comes to somebody's health or other medical conditions that may be involved?
That type of, we'll talk about low glycemic. There's a thing people talk about as a sugar crash. That's something we'll talk about. What that really amounts to is your body gets flooded with too much simple sugar, like sugar, not starch till later on, but it gets flooded with that too much too soon. It just makes a kid hyper. That's the first thing you'll see. If you ever want to see the devil and children come out, feed them a bunch of sugar and see what happens, because they get hyper. They'll get a mean streak sometimes in there too. They can't focus, they can't concentrate, then they get kind of ratty, then they may fall asleep. But what they did is their blood sugar went crazy. Now, you've heard about that. A diabetic, just to review, and that is when their blood sugar will be too high, too low, depending, usually too high, gets out of control because they've just, type 1, it's getting too technical, but the point of it really is that blood sugar gets out of hand. Blood sugar controls lots of stuff. It controls energy, it controls mood, immune system, all of these things factor in inflammation. But the typical thing, someone comes in, has something for breakfast, maybe they've got, I don't know, some Captain Crunch cereal or whatever, a cup of coffee and bread. Pop-Tarts, yes, that's a real story. 10 o'clock in the morning, oh, they feel like I can't think, and what do? Coffee pot and donuts, probably 2 donuts, spikes them up again. Then by lunchtime, 2.5 hours later, they've got to repeat that process. By 2:30, 3 o'clock, they're having their nap at work, so they've got to boost it again. That's kind of that's proof their blood sugar is going up and down and up and down. Not a good thing. We are not designed that way. And if that's your energy problem, the first thing to look at, fix your diet. Fix your diet according to Lifestyle Solutions. We have other videos to explain how to fix your diet. There's another more short-term one. I've experienced it years ago when I was learning these things. I didn't know any better, many years ago. The actual real sugar crash. That's awful. What you do, for example, there was a time working very hard, didn't have anything to eat, missed lunch because I was just too busy, so I'd run off and get, as I remember, it's in Ireland, Northern Ireland, we used to practice over there, some chocolate-covered raisins and a soft drink.
Ooh,
and like those things.
They
were yummy.
That's
Yeah.
a recipe for a lot of sugar and a huge sugar crash.
Yeah, so what would happen at 2 in the afternoon or something, whatever time it was, you know, I'd eat that at the time legitimately thinking, well, raisins aren't bad. The soft drink was kind of an indulgence, and it was a diet one, so I thought I was doing okay. But what I found, I felt better, but 30 minutes later, roughly 30 minutes later, I would start to shake, get cold sweats, almost an anxiety panic attack, and I feel my heart beating in my throat, just the weirdest stuff. I'm like, what is this? Another half hour it might pass. This went on a little while till at some point I learned that if I took peanuts, anything else, that would alleviate it. But then I was thinking, this is abnormal. Went to work and I found, lo and behold, I had fallen trap to what people call a sugar crash. It's kind of like welcome to the world of the diabetic. Welcome to when they have too much insulin, wipes out the blood sugar, goes way up. Then you put too much insulin, crashes down, you have hardly any at all. And that is just a horrible, horrible effect. That's a sugar crash. So you can have long-term kind of wavy ones, or you can have the drastic one. Take both of those as warning signs.
You know, and what we are doing, I think, even in our society over here, we're almost encouraging that without knowing at a very early age with our kids. It was interesting. Several years ago, we hosted some boys from the UK. They were part of the soccer team. They were doing part of the Dallas Cup over here.
It's high, very high level young men.
One of the things that we wanted to show them, we said, okay, we'll take them to the best donut place for breakfast one day so that they can get a taste of our Allen, Texas donuts. They were astonished. They said, what? Donuts for breakfast? They couldn't believe that. Whereas here it's something very normal. You'll have a donut or two for breakfast. They said, wow, we would think about having donuts at the end of our day before maybe going to sleep or in the afternoon, but not to start the day off with so much sugar.
That's it.
Like you're saying right there. And when you think about it, that's exactly it. If you start your day with all of that sugar, just think what it does to our kids in school, for example. You're giving them that sugar in the morning, and then they're going and they're like this for maybe an hour or two, and then they'll have that crash, and that's when the fog comes in and they can't even think. I want to go into, does controlling your diet then have an impact not just on diabetes but on certain medications or reducing certain medications? Can you do that just from maybe reducing the amount of carbohydrates or sugars that you're taking?
That's a broad question, because the two basic things that excess or uncontrolled sugar do, there's mood effects are part of it. I've seen people that literally, and they stabilize their diet, they're off anti-anxiety and antidepressants. Not everybody's that simple, but a lot of them are, and it is always a plus. Always a plus. If you're prone to depression or anxiety or any of these things are on meds, to very first off stabilize your diet, which means you're stabilizing your blood sugar. If you do that, you've done a whole lot to stabilize yourself. The second one creates inflammation. That the more sugar you got, you become like a walking bundle of inflammation. That can be a little, it can mean a lot. But what I'm getting at with that, let's say a person hurts their shoulder. Okay, they hurt their shoulder. The inflammation to like a person with a good diet is a 2. If they've got a bad diet, it'll be a 4 or 5. They'll hurt twice as much, and it'll take them 3 times as long to recover, and they're 4 times as likely to have a relapse because their repair system just isn't working properly.
And when you're talking about inflammation, you don't have to be a gym rat or an addict going to a gym every day. That can affect you just walking, picking things up, being able to sit down, getting up from the toilet.
Or if
just
you're on
simple
a
things.
computer using these, more likely to get carpally tunnely kinds of things, or sore fingers and sore wrists. So in other words, what people call repetitive strain, some of it's mechanics, some of it is just how inflamed you are. You can control that.
Okay, let's take it from inflammation. What about hormones, heart, digestion? I mean, do you see things coming into the clinic with people that because they have excess sugar or by curbing their carbs would be better off?
You're on a roll. Time release carbs and curbing their carbs.
Okay.
I like these things. But it's true too, because diabetes or pre-diabetes, that's like we call it a doorkeeper. You get that, everything else starts to deteriorate or can after that. Where does that start? Bad diet. It's bad diet. A lot of it tends to be the sugar like we're talking about, coupled with low omega oils. There's your formula. There's diabetes, there's too much inflammation. When that happens, then later on, other things start to go out of whack. Now, partly it's due to a lifestyle. The person tries to compensate. The blood sugar doesn't feel good. Then they're on medication with side effect. Then they're taking extra caffeine for energy, too much, which creates another problem, on and on. And so eventually, mood effects, inflammation, by the way, is profound. That isn't just pain. Sometimes brain fog, what people call brain fog, it's low level, but I don't mean to diminish that. If it's just, you shouldn't have any brain fog at all. There shouldn't be any inflammation of the brain. None. Zero. It's not normal. A lot of people have it, but it's kind of, it doesn't mean that it's right. But if you curb that, you'll think more clearly too, rather than having to have some kind of medication to compensate for that.
We've talked about a lot here. I want to ask you if we have triggered any sort of question, specific question, or anything within this topic that you want to know about. Comment below. Write us, let us know. Once again, subscribe to our Dr. Greg and Monica Lifestyle Solutions YouTube channel. Invite your friends, and we are here to answer your questions. Until next time.
Till next time.